Namaste. We're going to continue with the I Am Discourses from where we left off, which was Discourse 14 and Part 3. When one first feels the least disturbance, quickly take the consciousness, I am the commanding presence and I maintain my consciousness here. One must realize that in the command of the I am presence, he or she has the absolute control of the body. The more anyone uses this, the more quickly does manifestation take place. Question: if the great central sun is the heart center of the infinite, where is that which is the brain center? Answer: in the pure state, whether in the infinite or the finite. When there is no imperfection, the brain and heart actively become one. For the motive power of all activity sent forth is love from the heart. Therefore, in the pure state, in the heart and brain, if the heart and the brain are synonymous, for within the divine love is contained love, wisdom, and power. This is the threefold flame: love, wisdom, and power. Now, I'm being shown to. So this is the threefold flame that we speak of: love, divine love; wisdom, divine wisdom; and power, divine power, are the three aspects of the Godhead, the Trinity, as it were, so to speak. I'm having to channel this because I don't know this myself. To continue, love, divine love. In fourth density, you are here to learn this in the positive polarized aspects of your conscious experience. In fourth density, humanity. Wisdom, divine wisdom. You'll be learning this from fifth density and above. Power, divine power. This is usually an aspect which can be learnt throughout the whole of your incarnational periods of the master and of the major and of the master reincarnation cycles. We repeat that. So the divine love, the divine wisdom, fourth and fifth densities of consciousness experience. The divine power, when implemented with the divine love and the divine wisdom, will bring you to the sixth and seventh density states and above. Seventh density is your primary soul aspect. Seventh density is where the love, the wisdom, and the power are balanced and harmonized with the divine equilibrium. Okay, so yeah, I didn't know I was going to channel that, but I didn't really expect that. Okay, so I hope you understand that. So, let's continue. The infinite energy is always present, awaiting use, but does not act in the life of an individual, except under conscious command. There does come a time in the progress of the individual when things act so instantaneously that it seems to be automatic, but it really never is. There is absolutely but one road to self-conscious mastery, and that is the conscious direction of the eternal energy in whatever you desire. Now, this brings us to another quite vital point. Desire is an indirect action of the attention, but desire sustained by the determined use of the attention causes the desire to become an individual, an invincible manifestation. This will give you a slight idea of how important it is that conscious direction be coupled with the desire. Conscious use of the I am presence, or the consciously directed use of this eternal energy to a given accomplishment, should at no time be anything but a most joyous effort. It should never seem like work or tension in any way, because when you declare, I am the presence, the intelligence, directing this energy to a given purpose, you set the law in motion in a perfectly easy, calm manner, and it does not require any tearing of the hair, effort. Therefore, it should always be a calm, serene, determined procedure. The student should at all times understand that the student never chooses the master, but the master chooses the student. Did the student understand what consciousness he or she was to maintain, it would come about very much sooner. for contacting the Ascended Masters use I am the presence preparing the way and bringing visible contact with the beloved Ascended Masters. With the use of the I am presence, you have full command and limitless control over all disturbing conditions. When you speak in the I am presence, you are speaking in the presence which the Ascended Being is. You must realize deeply that when you say I am, it is the full God power acting and knows no failure of any kind. Benediction. We give praise and thanks for thy infinite outpouring, great I am presence. We give praise and thanks that at last we know who thou art and that within thee are all possibilities. We give praise and thanks that thy mighty presence is always the governing intelligence, the love enfolding, the light illumining everything on the way. Well, what an incredible discourse. That's the end of the discourse. And just to come back to this, so yeah, I didn't even realize I was going to start channeling then. This has happened throughout these readings, of course. I've been shown that by my higher self that when there's certain points of great interest, or when they call it expansion of, expansion of perception. That was it. Yep. I just had to be reminded of that. Yeah, thank you. So this to expand your perception of these teachings. You see, usually these teachings will be given with a master present, but we don't have a master present. But we do have my higher self, who's more than willing to chime in whenever we need them. So this seems to be the Holy Trinity then: love, wisdom, and power. So love, fourth density, that makes sense. Wisdom, fifth density, throat chakra. Love is your heart chakra, green ray. Wisdom is your blue ray, throat chakra. And power would be your indigo ray, combined with love and wisdom. So the indigo ray combined with the green ray and the blue ray. So this seems with the threefold flame of the perfection of manifest beings in creation. So this is what we're aiming or attaining towards. Aiming to attain, I guess, would be the correct thing to say. So yeah, I thought that was quite fascinating. So we've got a few minutes left, so let's continue with Discourse number 15. Discourse 15, November the 21st, 1932, Saint Germain. Invocation. Thou mighty conquering presence, the majesty of I am everywhere. We give praise and thanks for thy mighty presence everywhere. Thy all-pervading energy and power ever stands at the door of our consciousness for use, that we may consciously direct it to manifest thy wondrous perfection. Forever we give praise and thanks to thee for thy mighty presence. I bring you greetings from the great ascended host, always giving their assistance, that you may manifest perfection. The Discourse. Out of the glorious fullness of God's omnipresence, light and substance, comes the fullness of all things. The student who is strong enough, firm enough, to stand alone with his or her mighty I am presence, never dividing for a single hour the presence and power of God, will find himself or herself steadily raising into that mighty perfection, forever free from all sense or recognition of any limitation. The student is fortunate indeed who can hold himself or herself within this mighty presence undivided. For the benefit of some of the students who are so sincere and yet are unknowingly allowing their attention to be withheld from that undivided presence, I wish to state certain facts with no intent to intrude upon the free will of the individual. The records which I shall quote we have within our possession, and they cover the past 100 years. That of which I wish to speak today is the delusion of astrology. No one living can give his or her attention to astrology and enter into the presence of the I am, and remain there, Underlying the present use of astrology is the human desire and opportunity to justify and gratify the outer desires. Here, let me state an appalling fact which is within the records we have. I'm being shown this is the Akashic records that is being read from. We have, there is no one thing or phase of study which has caused more failure or more indirect murder than the present delusion of astrology. I'm being shown this is the present delusion, not the original astrology for what it was originally intended for. This is the astrology that has become today, the modern version of it. Okay, that's very important. I'm being shown to tell you. The original astrology was pure and divine in every single way. To continue, in your city of Chicago, within very recent years, was a splendid student of metaphysics who, consciously accepting the delusion of his horoscope, was driven to commit suicide. One thing humanity needs most, and students above all else, is the firm rock of consciousness of the mighty I Am presence upon which to stand safely and free from the pitfalls of outer consciousness and concoctions. It is not the negative statements of prospective death and the so-called ill-fated star force to be overcome. One second, I think I might have skipped a page. Yep, overcome. Yep. That students need to know, but the unconquerable, all-pervading I Am presence that is the only and all life of their beings, to which their attention needs to be drawn and held there with a firm grasp. In the I Am presence there is no height the student may not reach, but by allowing his attention to be held by astrology, numerology, and the many isms of today, there is no depth he or she may not reach. The present use of astrology has no semblance of the use to which it was put centuries ago. Then it conveyed no negative statements of any kind. The great harm to the attention fixed upon it is that students accept the negative statements far more than they are willing to admit. The sinister negative force generated by mankind in the world always takes advantage of such things as this to get and hold the attention, especially of the student who is progressing, and thus keep it upon that which will pull him down instead of raising him up. Where there is a horoscope that indicates the death of someone, various minds become fixed upon that idea, and actual indirect murder is committed, so subtle that individuals would be shocked to be reminded that they had any part in it, but I assure you it is none the less the truth for all their surprise. Could the students of astrology see for one day from the great inner standpoint the destructive force generated and used through the present use of astrology, they would turn from it as from a poisonous serpent, waiting to strike death into their veins. I say to you, beloved students, in the name of your light and progress, and of all progress, stand within your own mighty I Am presence, and let not your attention be held or divided by any outer thing. If you wish to avoid the wheel of birth and rebirth indefinitely, this is the wheel of reincarnation, of course. From the great love of my heart, seeing and knowing from the inner standpoint, as you do not and cannot possibly as yet, I urge you to avoid everything that savours of a negative expression or condition. Then you shall rise on the wings of your mighty I Am presence into the everlasting freedom and blessing of the perfect, eternal, limitless light. As I said, I do not wish in any manner to intrude upon your free will, but the gates of eternal freedom are open before you, and if you will but believe the truth I have uttered, which will enable you to enter within these gates and receive the eternal blessings of the light waiting there to unfold you. If there are conditions in your life, home or environment that you wish to be rid of, command through the I Am presence that they be dissolved and consumed before its mighty light and power. And we've come to the end of our time, so we're going to wrap that up, and we're going to take up for part 2 of Discourse 15.